What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel and a live video. I haven't done one of these in a while. So this video I'm going to talk to you guys about mice. Do you need a gaming mouse? And so I've got 4 mice here to show you and some stories to tell. So I hope you guys will stick around for this video. I hope you enjoy this, and well, let's get on to it. So just give me a second here. Alright, so I'm back over here now, and I've got, like I said, I got 4 mice. I'm going to try to adjust this up a little bit. Alright, hopefully you guys can see me. I'm not so sure. Don't have my cameraman with me today. She's out on the town with our parents, so yeah, it's just me. And a bunch of dogs that decide to play around me. So first off, I've got 4 different mice. I've got a mouse from On, a mossy oak, a Xelox or whatever, and I've also got a Steel Series Rival 110. So, okay, so let me tell you guys a little bit story about what happened when I first started playing on PC. The first mouse I had was a standard Dell mouse. The regular 2 clicks and a mouse wheel. So that was my standard mouse. I used that for a good week before I bought one of these. So the reason why I stopped using that Dell mouse is, as many of you guys can probably guess, it was cheap, it was light, it didn't track real well. I mean, it was good enough for web surfing, but not so good for gaming. Also, you couldn't change the DPS, so it stayed at a fairly low speed, so you couldn't have the reaction time other players could get. So, like I said, I bought nearly dropped it. First mouse I bought was an On wireless mouse. This is a ONA 13HO501 mouse. Not that really matters, it's just I thought I'd tell you guys that just in case. So this is a cheap mouse. I picked it up for 10 bucks, and my gameplay was immediately better. It had a higher standard DPS, so it did cycle better. It did have the 2 side buttons, so I could actually keybind these for, like, say, Call of Duty. I could have grenades and then tactical. So this was a good starting mouse. The problem we had with this was still couldn't change the DPS. So this button here, if you can set it up to basically as a home button or a menu button. That was it. You couldn't change this aside from what you could change in the Windows 10 settings. So after this, I bought a Mossy Oaks, and I really like this mouse. It's a great mouse. I still use it as a backup mouse, and you might be wondering, well, hey, you got this cool one over here. Well, I'll get to that in a second. Still has the 2 standard forward-backward buttons that you can keybind. Left click, right click is really, really snappy. And you could change the DPI. That's why I bought this mouse. It was $15 at Walmart. And like I said, I still use this one as a backup. Now, my problem with this one was this little sensor in here. This right here. This was the little problem. I would be playing Call of Duty, and if you guys go back, you can actually hear me complaining about this quite a bit. If you go watch one of my zombies videos, I think it was Haunted Island or Haunted Treasure Island or something like that, you would see my screen jumping from straight forward to up in the air or down below or something like that. It would just jump. Well, it turns out that this little sensor, this wireless part of this mouse and this little receiver, was messing itself up. There was some kind of interference. I still haven't figured out quite what was going on with that. And there was some kind of interference that was causing it to screw up on the screen. It would start jumping everywhere. So this is a good mouse. I really like this mouse, and I still use it from time to time if I need a backup for other computers or for You know, if, for example, when I had to buy a new mouse to replace this one, and I used this one in the meantime. Now, here's where things get weird. Or not really weird, but a little bit annoying. So this mouse here is a Zeolite T90. Real big grip. It's got a double click button here, DPS change here, 2 standard side buttons, and a button that changes the color. This has, I believe, 7 different colors with it. So you guys be thinking, well, that might be, so what's wrong with it? Well, I picked this up. If you guys probably heard of it, it's called Wish. And I used this mouse for about 3 or 4 months, okay? And I really liked it at first. After the sensor fiasco with this one, well, not really fiasco, I decided to opt for one that had a cord, a wired controller. Now, what was wrong with this one? Well, despite its many features, RGB or whatever, LEDs, the double click, it was a great mouse for when I used it. And you could even change the weight. On the bottom, it's got this little deal. You could change the weight of your mouse. Make it lighter or heavier if you like. The problem was, and this started maybe a month ago, the problem with this is that the mouse would randomly start changing the DPS. I always had this mouse set to highest DPS. It has like 7 different DPS modes. And I always had it set to the highest. I like to have high reaction speeds. But I've had it to where I'd be scrolling across the menu, trying to shoot somebody on Call of Duty, or zombies on Call of Duty, or something in Empyrion, and all of a sudden, it would go from a super high speed to this across the menu, or across the screen, or whatever. It would change its DPS automatically. And no matter what I did, I couldn't get it to stay at a high enough DPS. It started out as an annoyance at first, but it continually got worse. I actually, after about a month of this happening, I about had it, and I said, you know what, screw it, I'm getting a new mouse. That's where I got the SteelSeries Rival 110. Now, this thing is awesome. I have to admit, it's way better quality than this one here. You might hear a truck, guys. I'm sorry, I decided to do this outside today. Now, this mouse, very, very nice. It's got a DPS button. You only can set it to 2 different DPS modes, but you can actually get onto SteelSeries Engine, which is the software that you can download for your computer, and you can manually, or not manually, but you can actually upload. Get out here, dog. Hotch. Anyway, you could actually change the DPS from the highs to lows to whatever. You could also change the color. So originally, out of the box, this is orange LED. You can change it to blue, purple, green, whatever you want. I even saw a gray one, a gray option, believe it or not. So this is a really cool mouse. Now, I've only used this one for a month. It runs great. It seems to be working really good. I don't have to worry about it too much. So, let's start talking about prices. This is a $10 mouse. You can pick it up at any Walmart. Heck, you can probably buy it on clearance right now because of back to school. This is a little bit more expensive. This is a $15 mouse. It has everything you need to get started. DPS is probably the most important part. This mouse right here, I bought on Wish, like I said, $15. And like the On, it shows its cheapness. It feels good. It works good at first. But based off my experience, this mouse does not work very well after 2 or 3 months. And because it's so cheap, customer service for the company itself is not good at all either. It's either buy a new mouse or argue. And I just opted for a new mouse because it was just arguing just didn't seem to work. The Steel Series here, $45. This is a $45 mouse for a basic gaming mouse. This isn't fancy. This is just basic. Now, the question is, do you need it? Do you need a $50 mouse? Can you get away with a $10 mouse? Well, if you're starting off, frankly, mice aren't that big of a deal in terms of pricing. For a good gaming mouse, you're thinking $30 minimum. I believe that was Logitech, okay? I opted for a little bit more expensive, something that's been used by a lot of people already, that you see everywhere, which was this one right here, the Rival 110. It does great. I love it. It works. It does everything I want. Now, with that said, there are decent value mice that you can buy. There is the Mossy Oak mouse. This mouse, $15. It is very basic, but it's a good mouse. Like I said, I still use this one for backup. I use it on my Surface for, the stuff I would do for my college classes. I use it for, writing, on my Surface, things like that. I just type, click where I need to be. It's a lot easier than using the touchscreen on the Surface Pro. Would I buy this again? Absolutely not. This thing, it was cool looking. It had the lights. It had the bling. It had the fact that you could change its weight. But would I buy it again? Absolutely not. It's just not worth it. The quality's not that good. And it's just not that good, guys. Now, would I buy and use this again for gaming? No. The reason why is that it doesn't have the reaction speed that you need for gaming. So, I guess what I'm saying, guys, is this. Don't cheap out on your mice, but early on it's okay to go with the lower level stuff. If I lost this mouse, I would go out and buy another one of these. This is a good mouse for starting out. Like I said, there was a sensor problem with this, and it could be just this model of mouse, or it could be a defect in the whole line. I don't know. But this would be something I would buy again. But if you want to go full gaming, Rival 110 is a great starting gaming mouse. It's lightweight, fits real well in your hand. It's wired, so you don't have any latency issues, no lag on the movement. It's a great mouse. So, I would highly recommend, at the very least, getting something like this. Now, if you do want to cheap out, the best one I've found is the Mossy Oak. So these two mice I recommend for starting out. Now, you might want to go with something more expensive later on, a Corsair or a Razer even. But for starting out, these two mice are great. Now, before I drop my $50 mouse, let's put that back down and this one back down. Now, this one right here again, one more time. When you guys are looking for cheap, inexpensive stuff, sometimes quality, sometimes you need to go with the more expensive stuff. So, like I said, I bought this off of Wish. I was pretty happy with it at first. But I would not buy this ever again. This was just not a good buy. And now that I've bought a couple of different mice and tried a couple of them out, I've decided, I've learned, you don't want to cheap out on this stuff, guys. This mouse here, good for everyday stuff. These two right here, good for, well, this one's good for everyday stuff. This one, I don't even know if it works half the time anymore. So I wouldn't use these two mice. Don't cheap out on mice, okay? Keyboards, that's another topic for another time. I wouldn't, I mean, you can use a cheaper keyboard because you just need those four basic, you just need your movement functions at first. If you want to get into more competitive gameplay, get a different keyboard. But like I said, that will be a story for a different time. So my recommendation, if you want a gaming mouse, they're definitely a lot easier to use, a lot better to use than a cheap mouse like that. Cheap mice like that just don't work very well. If you want to go with a wireless that's fairly inexpensive, Mossy Oaks is a decent mouse, and you know, like I said, it could be just me, but this is a decent mouse, and like I said, I still use this one. This one right here. This $45 mouse, $50 mouse. You can find others for 30 bucks. Logitech has a couple that are 30 bucks that are considered gaming mice. I don't personally see any need for any more than 6 buttons. Maybe later on down the line I will see a need for more than 6 buttons. But for now, this is what I would recommend. Something like this, a SteelSeries Rival 110. That, I think, is the best early on mouse, or just anything within the $30 to $45 range. You don't need a $70 mouse to get started. And like I said, even something like this would be a good start. But you guys got to be careful. Don't cheap out too much, or you'll get stuck with something like these. Good for everyday use, too cheap to even work. So that's my advice to you guys. Hopefully you guys will, take it to heart. I don't know. That's, what can I say? Like I said, that's just my opinion. Now, there are a couple other discussions out there. Should you buy a wired mouse versus a wireless mouse? Like I said, my experiences is that wireless mice tend to have some interference sometimes, and it causes your screen to go wiggly or whatever. So, personally, I would stick with a wired mouse. But a wireless one can work if you need it to. So, that's my opinion, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I hope I didn't bore you guys to death, and I hope you guys will like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you didn't like the video, well, you know what to do. But be sure to leave some comments or something to kind of give me some advice on how to make the channel better for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll see you guys next time.